Hello and welcome to Core TV coverage from Laguna Seca, round 3 of the Core Australian V8 Supercars, the Laguna Seca Super Sprint, 3 times 14 laps at this brilliant track in the heart of the United States. I'm joined today by Tom Chorley. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Adam. It's good to be back on comms again, especially in the middle of an exciting season such as we're having here in V8 Supercars, and what should be quite a thrilling spectacle today, shouldn't it?
It should indeed be a thrilling spectacle. Last time out at Monza, Glenal's 81 really came out as one of the top contenders for this season. He currently leads the championship table from its racing in the Ford. The Ford has actually had a BOP alteration due to its, well, frankly, spectacular season so far, exceeding the expectations of the specking crew. Therefore, it's been had its power and power reduced slightly. I think it's also had a bit more ballast added to it. The Camaro has had a big boost due to a lack of pace in the Chevrolet. That's a hike of about 25 brake horsepower. Mercedes and BMW have also had a power hike, while the Lexus remains unchanged. That car's pretty much the base car, the pace we want to see from the cars this season. And with all of the cars being put into line that little bit more, I believe this should be the best trio of racers we've had so far, and I'm very happy that you've come back into the world of core commentary to join us for this one.
Yeah, so the Fords particularly had a very sizable advantage at Monza, but the first 2 races, both drivers chucking it away with rather unnecessary, messy first lap incidents, and Glenn punished them well and truly on those occasions to take those 2 rather excellent wins, and then did an equally superb job to annex second place in race 3. So he's certainly a standout driver so far, isn't he? But obviously with the order reshuffled now, we should certainly see quite a different race today, hopefully.
Yes, we should. Glenal's 81 only starting in the midfield for this first race, which is about to get underway. We have GTP Bambi, of course, you're very familiar with as a core WEC Season 3 teammate, and Memto 89. They're making up the front row in their Chevrolet Camaros. So, with no further ado, the lights are preparing to go up at Laguna Seca. We're just seconds away from the start of race 1.
Yeah, say it's a surprise really to already see the Camaros annexing the front row on this particular occasion, then the Mustangs both too, but I don't think we'll lead us away.
Indeed, we are just seconds away. Brake lights, we are about to get underway. We are underway here. GTP Bambi, I believe, yes, on the inside, it's GTP Bambi in the slightly darker coloured Chevrolet Camaro. Will he be able to keep that lead on the first bend? Yes, he will. Memto 89 not managing to get around the outside. Its Racing has been overtaken by Glenn. No, he has not. Its Racing is behind the 2 Camaros, but Glenal's 81 and Killing Heidi having a good scrap for 4th position. Looks as if someone went off there. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been Full Gas and Ben Crow. Full Gas is certainly off there on the just under the former Dunlop Bridge.
Yeah, so if you run wide over the curve, get involved with someone there. The walls are incredibly close around here, so the 2 Australians are not having a very good start to this. As we see MTLA there getting a bit leery in the Mustang. He's also had a poor start, down from 4th place on the grid. He's certainly got some more work to do again. It's like Monza all over again for him. But yeah, say at the start there, the gaps between the grid slots is actually quite large here at Laguna Seca. So although Memto had the slightly better start, he couldn't do much with it as they all plunged through the cloud of smoke there at the corkscrew. As these V8 cars are certainly all over the place.
Track there, Mikey I Am kicking up dust there, sorry, on the exit of the rainy curve.
No,
very tricky. Very tricky on the exit of that corner. The cambers can take you offline slightly, but on that occasion he managed to keep it straight, keep it on the straight and narrow, and managed to keep his position just ahead of Optimus Prime 1 there for 6th position.
As we see Santos coming to the pit, so maybe he was involved up in that 3rd corner melee as well. But yeah, so the rainy curves there, if you keep it tucked in quite nice and tight and use that camber, you can hold a good line through there. But if you let it run out just a little bit, then you get sucked in towards the edge of the track and run perilously close to losing a lot of time in the gravel, as Bambi is stretching his legs a little bit here and pulling away from Memto and the other Camaro. It's Racing holding equally distant third place. Glenn, consistent as always, fourth place in the moment, as we see Ben Crow and Supercars have now also made it back to the pit lane for the repairs, and that's unfortunately probably ruined their race unless something magical happens. So they'll have a lot of work to do in race 2 then, as it's racing it as he ducks down in through the corkscrew, one of the most famous corners in the world, of course, and the Mustang
sideways
all
again.
over the place. They certainly do love to get sideways, these cars, and undoubtedly, of course, it's then great for us to watch that. Cracking stuff here. It's Optimus Prime who's sort of, oh hello,
an
is
MTLA
that
again
he's
going
off
rally crossing there on the exit of the rainy curve. Wasn't him we saw it do last time. It was Mikey I Am who went off last time, but MTLA, well, definitely all four wheels off track there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, clearly thinking he's in the FIA World Rallycross Championship at the moment there. As he headed for the pit, he's headed for the pit lane as well. I've spotted a little bit of left rear damage on the indicator.
A very big inside move there from Optimus Prime. Will he make it stick? A little bit of door-to-door action there, but he's going to have the outside going into turn 3. Mikey I Am manages to get back ahead of the Lexus. Optimus Prime wearing my own number 46 there. But he didn't manage to make that move stick. I thought he had him on the inside, but there wasn't really enough room for a Lexus there. So there was a bit of muscling, but Mikey I Am managed to keep that 6th place.
I say it's like touring cars and rallycross all in one, this racing series, isn't it? It's fantastic to watch, especially with that level of commitment there, and I'm sure the drivers don't mind a little bit of argy-bargy as long as you're not taking it to Pastor Maldonado levels of, you know, barging people around a bit, but it's all good fun, no harm done there. Bit of great racing. It's like, oh no, is it Optimus Prime? Lost it at the top of the corkscrew. Is he going to split? He has just about held on to it. Well done, sir. Yeah, so of course these cars certainly look very leery here around Laguna Seca, and none more so there than into the top of the corkscrew. So this is very leery stuff at the moment. Certainly entertaining if not getting as much passing at the front end of the field.
No, definitely. One thing we actually haven't covered in any of the core TV coverage of this brilliant championship so far, we are using a harder compound of tyre than we're accustomed to seeing here in the core set of series. We're using racing medium tyres rather than the racing softs that have become the de facto tyre throughout core racing, and I think that catches some of the more experienced guys out. There isn't quite so much grip to put that power down on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, it's what's probably helping actually make this more fun than it really is, actually, given that they're not having the grip levels that they're used to. As we see Memso, he's closing up a little bit now, isn't he, on GTP Bambi? As you're right, my former WEC teammate. It's very much a different kettle of fish to these things here, the lightweight prototype machines we were used to not that long ago. So he's found his feet, really, hasn't he, now in the world of Gran Turismo, and he's doing well at the moment. He's keeping one of the most seasoned core performer at Bay, also doing a good job. So it's certainly a good show here for the respecking of these cars. That it's the Camaro's leading 1-2 at the moment. The Mustang is dropping away, actually, by the looks of things. So this is a bit of a surprise. It could be track specific, really. The Mustang's just might not be suited to this track, or it could be this is now the new balance of the V8 Supercars. Those Mustangs might be kicking themselves a little bit. They didn't take full advantage of the pace they had, particularly at Monza.
No, definitely. While they're at the first 2 rounds of the season, they were right up there in terms of pace. At Monza, they did throw that all away. Glenal's 81 capitalising, and Glenal's 81 leading the championship. As it stands, he would still be in the lead of the championship if he finished 4th in this race. Its racing 3rd position is 2nd place in the championship as it stands. And I think it's important to note as well, as you were talking a couple of minutes ago about the prototype cars you and GTP Bambi were accustomed to using in WEC Season 3. This is one of the first times we have seen core racing using more production-oriented cars, obviously the GTE cars in the core WE. As I would interrupt myself there, killing Heidi off track along the Rayhouse Straight there, so must have gone off on the exit of turn 6, and from there he's found himself off in a similar style to Memto 89. I remember Core WEC Laguna Seca last year, race 2. He did a wildcard entry in a Mazda RX-7 and found himself in a very similar position to what we saw from Killing Heidi there. Killing Heidi cannot see some of the field. I'm not sure how that's affecting him today, but we will see as the races wear on.
Yeah, so it's a very tricky corner, that turn 6, and it tightens up really tightly there as you're trying to take as much speed as possible through the apex, and then it pinches a bit more on the exit, which is why people can often run wide, run a couple of wheels over the curb, and then it spits you off rather unceremoniously into the wall. We'll see if Bambi has any such problems this time around. I suspect not. As yep, that's the way to do it there. Touch the inside nicely, don't let it run too wide, as we see MTLA back in the pits yet again. So
yeah, MTLA in the pits again. Pride TEC Motorsports not having as good a race as we're accustomed to seeing from them from Madrid, although it's racing still very much doing them a good representation in 3rd place. MTLA, however, having a horrible race. He's now down to 10th position, only ahead of Full Gas 62, who we saw struggling between turn 3 and 4 on the last lap. He seems to be limping round with more damage, and MTLA just exiting the pits now. He is going to go a lap down on these top 2, GTP Bambi and Memto 89, who doesn't seem to be able to make up those last couple of tenths to make a move on the American driver.
No, you're right. Bambi doing all he needs to do at the moment to keep his fellow Camaro driver just behind him where he needs to. Almost a bit Lewis Hamilton-like, isn't it? This sort of letting him get a little bit closer, and then pulling away when he needs to. So he's probably fully in control of proceedings at the moment. As
someone
we see,
who's not fully in control of proceedings, Glenel's 81 having a very uncharacteristic spin. That's on the exit of turn 3. Glenel's 81 with a big moment there. Amazing just how big the gap between him and Mikey I Am was, because he only just lost that 4th position to Mikey I Am in the BMW. However, he has lost a considerable amount of time and has, of course, lost touch with his title rival, It's Racing, so he will be kicking himself. However, what he needs to do now is get back into the rhythm and reclaim that 4th position from Mikey in the BMW.
Yeah, so lucky for him at the moment, It's Racing is only in 3rd place and not leading at the moment, so the damage to his points tally won't be as great as it would be if normal service was resumed and the Mustangs were in the lead. But as things stand, it'll be interesting to see if he can regain on Mikey now to take back that 4th place. Given that he did have such a sizable gap to begin with, you'd think he might be able to, but he could be in a bit of tyre bother now then, but we'll have to wait and see over these final 6 odd laps whether Glenn can do anything about that. Now he's thrown away his Mr. Consistency title, but I think he's got actually he doesn't have that much of a gap, does he, over Optimus Prime, so he's got to be careful really. It's a case now of will he settle for that 5th place and just bring it home, or will he get a bit of a red mist to send and chase after Mikey to see if he can regain a bit of honour there. Not that he didn't already and still have plenty of it.
I do believe that he will go for that 4th position again, if anything, just for the extra points in the championship. Now, Memto 89, I did say he couldn't make up those last couple of tenths in order to challenge the leader, GTP Bambi, but he is some 2 tenths quicker in terms of fastest laps of the race so far. So he definitely has the quickest pace out on track. Will he be able to turn that into a race victory? He has just over 5 laps to try and make a move, and there is traffic just ahead. I believe that's Ben Crow, or perhaps Full Gas. It is Ben Crow in 9th position. So will he make it easy for GTP Bambi? Yes, he does. He goes off onto the inside there, letting both drivers through. Hugging the tyre wall. Good move there from Ben Crow. He's got quite a gap between himself and Killing Heidi, and doesn't really have much to lose at this point, so just letting the leading battle by. GTP Bambi breathing a sigh of relief there. I'm fairly sure he does not want to lose this win.
No, so good driving there from Ben Crow, got out of the way, didn't interfere with the lead battle, which is good of him. Memto, yeah, you're right, he was closing back up, but just as we thought this race for lead had been sort of revitalised a bit, Bambi has once again stretched out a little bit, hasn't he? So as I suggest, he's probably just toying a bit with Memto at the moment, but time will tell as we're back with Glenn, who does look noticeably closer to Mikey. So I think you're right, he's gunning for 4th place at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do, as we haven't seen anyone not thrown off the track at the moment. Actually, tell a lie, we haven't seen 2 Camaros make much of a mistake yet. So who knows? Maybe that's the new weapon of choice for everyone to have.
Perhaps so, and maybe after a couple of rounds we could see some more BOP alterations, you never know. However, judging by the fastest laps at the moment, the cars are all very much equal at this point in time. Now, one thing I was going to say about GTP Bambi, he really has evolved as a driver since joining Core. He was in the first and only Core WEC Rising Stars series. That's how he made his entry to the Core scene before debuting towards the tail end of WEC Season 2. He was a good upper mid-pack runner in the GTE class of the Rising Stars series, and he went on to be one of the top drivers in the full WEC towards the end of Season 3. And here he is, leading Memto 89. He truly has evolved as a driver in his little over 2 years with Core at this point.
Yep, he got rid of me and then decided to, be good. So not that I'm bitter at all or anything like that, but no, it's good to see him in this position now, as we see Glenn latching on to the back of Mikey now. When is he going to strike? As when we're on board with Glenn and Memto, we notice both of them really savaging those curves, which obviously there's a lot of times we found doing that, but it's a bit brave given the amount of people we've seen chuck it at the scenery already as Mikey runs it.
This Mikey I Am is definitely falling back. Once again, I think that was a member of the traffic there. I think that was full gas, making it quite easy for him there. However, down the Rahal Straight towards the corkscrew, he definitely has to be careful. Glenal's 81 is very close by in that menacing black Mercedes. He wants his 4th position back. There's no question of staying back to 5th at this point, is there?
Certainly is not. I held my breath for a moment as I thought he was going to attempt something around the outside of turn 6, which would have been ludicrous to say the least. If he'd have pulled it off, I think we'd have all, God even knows what we would have done. Probably screamed a lot, but he's hopefully going to line something up a bit more predictable and easy going. I'm not sure we could take any more Larry antics of that calibre. Has he got a good run down the pit straight here? He could be in a good position here, going to turn 1 to outbrake him. Let's just swing around a tight turn 1, which is a bit deceptive at times. Really, you think it's going to be much more wider than it really is, but no, you do have to commit to it or run the risk of running wide then onto the gravel and throwing it off before you've even got down to the brakey stuff. So he might be lining up.
Hairpin, definitely one of the more difficult corners on this track. As you say, it really is deceptive. When you have the likes of the corkscrew and the rainy curve also sharing the track with you, you can get away with perhaps not having such a reputation, but certainly it's very easy to outbrake yourself going into that Andretti hairpin turns 1 and 2, because it is a bit of a double biter. Down the Rahal Straight once more. Glenel's looking at the outside of the corkscrew. That would have been a very interesting move.
Yeah, that would be brave to try that. We've seen it done before. You often see it, particularly in motorcycle racing, of course, some completely ridiculous moves going on into the corkscrew. Mr. Rossi Stoner, and then Rossi and Marquez again in more recent times. But sadly, of course, they don't go there anymore. As we see Glenn, I thought he might have been having a bit of a cheeky stab there into the final corner, but thought better of it. Give him 3 laps to go, although he looks a bit close this time coming down the pit straight. Might try and line something up again into the Andretti hairpin, as he's kept it nice and tight through.
He might be going for a move.
No, he's not good. Although, yeah, because it's a double apex, you can square that off really, run it a bit deep on the brakes and point and squirt it, which I think in these cars would probably be the ideal route to take, actually, given so they're all about power. But of course, if you do that, you do leave yourself open to someone having a cheeky look down the inside to annex the inside line before getting to the second apex. But we've seen Mikey run it wide here, turn 5 a couple of times, and the 3rd time he's done it once again. But each time he doesn't really leave Glenn.
At the outside.
Yes,
that was very bad. That was just onto the curbs there, onto the dust. That must have been a heart and mouth moment there for Glenal's 81, although he kept it all together. That was completely fair racing there. I don't think Mikey was really doing much to try and squeeze him off track. But Glenal's 81 has lost a bit of time now. Is he going to be able to catch back up to the rear end of that BMW and make the move in just over 2 laps? Meanwhile, GTP Bambi still out front, seems to have subtly extended his gap over Mento 89. Looks like the American driver is going to take the win on home soil. As I say that with 1.5 laps to go, I might be cursing him. I do hope I am not.
He seems to have it all in the bag at the moment, so hopefully he'll be right as we rejoin this. I'm excited once again. Mikey versus Glenn once again. Mikey holds him off into turn 1. Keeps it nice and tight, doesn't give Glenn the opportunity to stick his nose up the inside of him. It's then all about getting good traction down here into turn, it's technically turn 4, given the, it is turn 4, isn't it? Into
turn
5.
3, I would have said, unless you count the first tiny corner as a corner. I'm never really sure what to consider that.
It's a pretty substantial corner, Adam, you know. Yeah, if you went straight there, you would very quickly meet a wall, so it's definitely a big scary corner, as this time round Mikey doesn't really get turn 6 quite as well as he should have done once again, but Glenn unable to punish him this time, and in fact having a faint look down the inside, but because you're on the brakes for a very short amount of time, you've got to be side by side.
And on the dirt there, loses it slightly under braking. I think he just clipped the dirt with his back wheel, having a big moment there at the corkscrew. Off on, and that's definitely given 4th place to Mikey I Am. He had no time to reclaim that position, but had to take a couple of bites of the cherry, and it seemed as though the second bite sent him spearing off into the dust. And I was going to say Glenhouse 81 learning, because he took the inside line rather than the outside on the corner before the Rayhouse straight, but then on the very next turn, the corkscrew having that big moment, leaving him in 5th position. And It's Racing, I'm sure, will be smiling behind the wheel of his Ford Mustang, knowing that his teammate, title rival, will be staying down in 5th position and not making any more advancements through the field.
Yeah, so It's Racing is probably having such a lonely race, didn't realise what's going on behind him, but yeah, we saw with Glenn get it on the dirt, on the curb, was basically out of control going into the corkscrew, out of control through the middle of the corkscrew, and then definitely out of control on the exit of the corkscrew. So even Glenn's prestigious talent couldn't really hold on to that one, but at least he stayed out of the wall, no damage, whereas at the front, Bambi has controlled it superbly, hasn't he? Memento still in his wheel tracks, but hasn't been able to do anything as Bambi takes the win.
Yes, GTP Bambi with a masterful performance there, showing that he has definitely done a bit of practice at Laguna Seca, holding off Memento 89. It's Racing coming home in 3rd position in that Ford Mustang. Seemed to have the loneliest race of anyone out there, as you rightly said. Mikey I Am just getting on the curb there, I think at the very limits of the curb.
And it's off once again.
There, Glenhouse 81 going beyond the limits of the curb, definitely trying to make that 4th position back. However, he did not, so Mikey I Am keeps 4th position from Glenhouse 81. Deep breath, not long till race 2, but that was a very great first race. Will GTP Bambi be able to win the 2nd race? Do you think he has it in him, Tom?
I should certainly think so. I mean, he put it on pole, controlled that first race brilliantly, did all he needed to do really to keep Memento behind in the other Camaro, let all the sort of action go on behind him, didn't get involved in anything. So it's going to be interesting now to see if people have learned from that, actually calmed down a little bit, sussed it out, or if we're going to get a repeat of Monza where people make basically the same mistake once again. But let's go back to the action then, and see what dramas race 2 has in store for us.
Yes, race 2 of the core Australian V8 Supercars trip to America. Laguna Seca, the Laguna Seca Super Sprint, the 2nd 14-lapper of the day. It will be another battle between the Chevrolets. The question is, will the likes of It's Racing and Glenhouse 81, Mikey I Am, BMWs, Fords and Mercedes, will they be able to challenge the American mark at their home track? We're about to find out as we are underway here. GTP Bambi once again with that inside line, but Memento 89 with a better start with the reactions off the start line. Round that first corner into the Andretti hairpin. Memento 89, no question about this one. He is leading the way out of the Andretti hairpin into turn 3. Will everyone be able to keep it on the black stuff this time by? Mikey I Am still in 4th position.
Oh, no, Someone's off. Killing Hardy's off. Killing Hardy's off this time. And I think Full Gas has been involved in another incident. I think Heidi has just about got away with that one. Actually, doesn't look to have any damage, although he's obviously got dirty tyres, keeping it just about on the track. Yeah, what a great start.
One up the inside, not going to make the move on Mikey I Am at that point of the circuit. He definitely wants to make his move on Mikey, make his intentions known, let him know that he is the quicker driver out of the two. Question is, will he be able to make the move in this second race? I also see MTLA, another off there for Ben Crow, off on the Rayhouse straight, but I saw Optimus Prime being challenged by MTLA on the approach to the corkscrew. Indeed, there they are. MTLA right on the tight tailpipes of that red Lexus. Who's going to be able to keep this 6th position? I do not think that Optimus Prime is going to be able to keep this one for much longer. The yellow wheels on that Mustang spinning at a very rapid rate, and I think that MTLA will make his move on the approach to the Andretti hairpin if he can get this run along the front straight.
Indeed, yeah, as we saw, the same people making mistakes once again, but at the sharp end of the grid, Bambi has latched on quite quickly to the back of Memso after that stellar start.
And Glenn.
Glenn there, really.
Firing it down the inside, and It's Racing getting all kinds of crossed up there on the exit of the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, he's desperate to keep those Camaros this time, isn't he? He does not want to be beaten into a rather lonely 3rd place again, as Glenn must be spitting feathers really inside that helmet at the moment as he's stuck once again behind Mikey as Memento's coming under all sorts of pressure from Bambi and gets wrong in turn 5.
6 under the bridge.
Yeah, he's giving the American a run on him, isn't he? But Bambi unable to do much with it, although he's getting it there. He's lost it there, but he's got the inside run up to the corner, whether the other Camaro can outpower him and run it, but he's got the inside, he's good on the brakes, but he's going to give Bambi the chance around the outside. I think he's done it.
Will he be able to keep it into the rainy curve?
He has.
He's managed to keep that position.
Oh, no, he has
on the inside, will be on the outside for the penultimate corner as Glenhouse 81 off at the rainy curve. Another case of rally crossing at the rainy curve. MTLA and Optimus Prime capitalise. Memto 89 on the final corner gets past Bambi once more, pushing Bambi off onto the AstroTurf and ultimately onto the dirt, as I think Optimus Prime there was also going backwards into the final corner, so it remains to be seen whether he's kept that one on track or not. But Memto 89, oh, look at that, Bambi, I think they're locking the tyres, possibly running without ABS there. So on the Andretti hairpin, having a bit of a lock-up moment, but it wasn't that intense, that battle for the lead as well as the battle for 4th place, really imploding before our eyes. But Memto 89 ultimately back in the lead, Mikey I Am ultimately still in 4th position, and amongst all that we missed MTLA getting up to 5th, so Optimus Prime definitely did make a bit of a mistake there on the last turn.
Yeah, so it's certainly been an action-packed first 2.5 laps, isn't it, here, with Memto showing absolutely no mercy.
And look at this,
we've got Full Gas off again.
Another accident on the exit of turn 3, between turn 3 and 4. No way has he hit that barrier and got away without damage, so I imagine we'll be seeing him into the pit lane, dropping down to the tail end of the field in 10th place. It's all kicking off here at Laguna as we see Memto 89 smoking. I think he went off track there. I think I saw some dust being kicked up as well as smoke. And Bambi being pushed off track there at the penultimate turn. Who's going to have It's Racing up in the middle of both of them. It's Racing briefly leads. He's got the position. It's Racing taking advantage of the situation between the two Chevrolet drivers, taking the lead for Pride TEC Motorsports. And with Glenhausen 81 in 6th and seemingly off rhythm today, this could have very positive championship implications for the Australian driver.
I say that was fantastic to thread it between the middle of both Camaros, when normally in that scenario you're only asking for trouble because you put your faith in the hands of 2 other drivers, but somehow bit of bumping and barging, but It's Racing pulled that one off. Incredible. And Memso still managing to hold off the other Camaro of GTP Bambi. So done it, this fight's done and dusted, is it? This is going to rage hopefully until the end of this one. This has been really quite something so far, and you're right, Mikey's still holding on to his rather accustomed 4th place at the moment. It'll be interesting now to see what's the second Mustang can do, as MTL appears to have learnt this time from
Ben Crow off track there, and Optimus Prime seemingly there on the pause button, so I'm not sure what's happened there, but Optimus Prime may well have had a disconnection of the steering wheel, may have been pulled urgently away from the racing. Either way, he should not be on that pause button, as we covered last time out at Monza, so remains to be seen what's happened there. But Memto89 diving up the inside on the last corner, where It's Racing managed to cut between the two Camaros last time by. Memto89 did not manage to get up his inside, and in fact, he's given GTP Bambi a good chance heading into this Andretti hairpin, with the grey Camaro all over the back of the white Camaro, both sharing those bright orange wheels. But no move from the American driver GTP Bambi there, holding station just.
Yeah, so one driver who clearly hasn't learned from the mistakes of race one is Ben Crow, unfortunately, at the moment, having an equally miserable time as things stand. But yeah, certainly Bambi wants past Memto, doesn't he? He fancies a crack at another race win at the expense of the other Camaro and that Ford Mustang lead. As I was originally trying to get across until some more excitement happened, was what can MTLA and the other Ford Mustang get up to now, as he's seemingly has learnt from his lessons, up to fourth at the moment, with a bit of a gap behind him though, on the tune of, oh hello, someone's just gone spinning out of turn 6 there. Couldn't quite see who it was. I saw someone spinning on the track map. I believe, oh, it might be Mikey actually, as Glenn's now got himself up into 5th place, as Memto sliding it once more through Rainy Curve. And once again, there's
lots of smoke in that Camaro. I think once again, Memto89 with a stiff setup on that white Chevrolet Camaro. But it seems to be doing him well, because he's further ahead of DTP Bambi this time by, and noticeably closer to It's Racing, not close enough to make a move. But I think that he still wants this race win, no matter how good the Australian driver is at threading his Mustang between Chevrolets.
Yes, he's certainly got that one down at the moment. It's whether he can rely on those two Camaros to fight amongst themselves at the moment and prevent them from challenging him for the lead. So perhaps a bit of tactics might need to come into play. As spectacular as that looks there from Memto, it's not necessarily the fastest way around a racetrack with smoke pouring off the back end as such, but if that's what's working for him, then as it seems to be at the moment. But whether it's going to do his tyres any good by the end of it, although we're nearly halfway through the second race now and the tyres look to be still holding up, but the big difference between the racing mediums and the softs is, although they are technically more durable, it's that you do get a greater performance drop-off on those mediums compared to the softs. With the softs, it was a fairly linear progression of, you know, the amount of grip you had, as we see the top 3 going past one of the next before, as clearly still having a bit of a nightmare out there in last place at the moment, as Memto looks to be able to get really close to the back of that Mustang coming into the last corner.
Top 3 are definitely closer this time past the start gantry as we begin lap 7. Not sure these guys will be in the same order next time by, because this battle is about to set alight once more. GTP Bambi, they're having a look, trying to get a good run off of the Andretti hairpin. It's Racing also getting all kinds of crossed up there once again. Not the first time we've seen him having problems on the exit of the Andretti hairpin, going under the Bridgestone bridge there between turn 3 and turn 4. Maybe it's called the Stone Bridge. Bridgestone, hard to tell. However, we go into turn 5 and no moves thus far. Memto89 though looks to be very close to the back of that Ford Mustang's bumper. The top 2 slightly further ahead of GTP Bambi this time, and approach the Rayhouse straight. It looks as if Memto89 has a better run. Will he make a move into the corkscrew? No. Opting to stay on the outside line there, though, trying to get tucked back in. And, well, maybe my prediction was wrong. We're almost at the end of the lap, and we are holding station. But Memto89, with a massive moment there, did seem to spook GTP Bambi a bit, because GTP Bambi did not manage to keep that car on track.
Yeah, say the mistake of Memto seemed to frighten Bambi off the apex as well. It seems each time they get onto the back of one of them, they keep making little mistakes just to space them out once again. But it's Memto this time round who looks to be having a look down into the Andretti hairpin.
He's going to make the move. Look at this going.
There's going to be contact here.
Oh my days, that's big contact there. Fender benders all round for Memto89 in It's Racing. GTP Bambi had a look up the outside there. Not sure whether he managed to keep it on track, but he certainly didn't manage to take second position from Memto89. Memto89 saw the door open, tried to get up the inside. Brilliant touring car racing, bumps, scrapes and all.
Yeah, same Memso. I think we could just see the shadow of Bambi appearing on the outside, but I think Memso rather ruthlessly shoved him to the outside there to say, you ain't coming around the outside of me, mate. But it's still fantastic racing here. It's all perfectly in the fun of everything to give your opponent a little bit of a nudge to say, go on, get out of the way.
Will he give another nudge here at the corkscrew because he's looking up the inside again? That turns into the outside for the second half of the corner. Just on the curbs there and slightly on the dirt. Not the best way around the turn. Lost a little bit of time to It's Racing on that one. And now GTP Bambi right back up behind him again. MTLA seems to be having a bit of a lonely race, much like his teammate last time out. However, I'm sure he sees Glenal's 81 in the mirrors, just as we see Glenal's 81 on the camera. And Mikey I Am seems to have had a moment there at turn 6. And another BMW in the wars as well, Ben Crow. Both of them having, the curse of the BMW, seemingly. Not a great race for the BMW drivers today, but Memso 89 once again at the Andretti hairpin, very close to the back of the Ford Mustang of It's Racing. This is definitely paying homage to one of the best touring car racing championships on the planet, of course, the V8 Supercars Championship over in Australia. And I think we're definitely living up to its reputation here today at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, we really are, aren't we? Listen, particularly with the amount of contact we're getting, but not brutal, as we see Memso once again right on the back of the blue and orange Mustang.
The TV director doesn't know where to look because we have this three-way battle
all over the place.
Yeah, and MTLA is being caught up by Glenal's 81. As I just say that, they do appear on screen. Didn't mean for the TV director to take offence to that. However, he has looked back, and Glenal's 81 has lost a bit of time there at turn 6. So that means we cut back to the battle for the lead, or more specifically, the battle for second. GTP Bambi is looking up the inside, up the outside, through the middle. Any way he can get around Memso 89 to take that second place, he will take it up with gusto. And will it be an outbraking manoeuvre into the Andretti hairpin? Well, we are about to find out. He is very close behind the white Camaro, looking up the inside, realising he is not quite close enough to make it through.
We need about 8 screens here, really, don't we, to keep an eye on everything that's going on. Something going on everywhere. Yeah, so Glenn rather sneakily has worked his way back up from his early little incident. I didn't realise he latched onto the back of the second of the Mustangs, so Glenn's certainly doing a bit to redeem himself in a moment, as once again at the front it's nose to tail, isn't it, with the smoky white Mustang, not Mustang, Camaro, isn't it? I'm getting confused here with all these orange wheels. It's orange wheels 1, 2 and 3, isn't it, here in the... So who knows, maybe that's the colour to paint your wheels. It seems to be doing these three a load of good this time, isn't it? Although it seems to... Oh, it's Memso, he's done a cheeky dive. Brilliant move. He's done the Rossi Stoner move, but he hasn't made it stick. In fact, he's down to third position. That was a wild outbraking manoeuvre, but he outbraked himself. Misjudged just how late he could be on the brakes at the corkscrew. It's Racing back through into the lead once more, kicking up dust on the penultimate turn. Memso 89 looking to make the cut back on GTP Bambi there, but not succeeding. But It's Racing seemed to have a really poor entry and exit to that penultimate corner, and GTP Bambi and Memso 89 are bump drafting of all things here at Laguna Seca. GTP Bambi's got the inside line. He's going to make it through. Both Camaros are going to make it through. This is insane racing here, ladies and gentlemen. GTP Bambi back into the lead. The decks have shuffled once more and It's Racing down to third. Memso 89 definitely playing his part in that one. And I think he's going to make a move on Bambi. Yes, he is on the inside of that turn. Oh my days, contact between It's Racing and GTP Bambi, and Memso 89 has played his cards perfectly here because he's back into the lead. And Glenn back up into fourth place as well. There's absolutely no punch being pulled here. That was sensational from Memso. I thought he'd hung on there in the corkscrew in his first move, but yeah, as we saw then, Bambi getting the better of both of them. And now, as we've seen, it's Memso back in the lead. I wasn't sure if It's Racing, he had a fairly substantial whack against the barrier there, didn't he? Which makes me wonder if he's got any damage. He's dropped off as well, look. He's dropped off. I do think he has damage because that was a substantial hit. As you said, he's dropped about 3 seconds behind.
And someone's off there on the exit of turn 6. I'm seeing that on the track map, as you have on a couple of occasions. I have a feeling that could have been Mikey I Am.
It's in the second sector.
No, it's MTLA, look, because hasn't Glenn made it past? No, Glenn made it past MTLA on track. I do think it might have been MTLA.
It could have been the second of the Mustangs, but yeah, so unfortunately that great battle for lead has now spaced them out a bit, hasn't it? There's a fair few seconds now between first, second and third. It was all getting a bit too excited, wasn't it? And in the end it was Memto going down the inside of Bambi into turn 4 there. And
we've had a disconnection. Oh, that was Optimus Prime early on after his pause button
that was missing. A while ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't notice that. So caught up in the action, I've never understood why commentators stand up in the commentary box. However, for the first time in this race, I am seeing sense. I've removed my chair, killing Heidi there. I think that was going off. He was closing up on Ben Crow for 7th position. However, just as we've seen from so many drivers today, the exit of the rainy curve does seem to be a black spot for going off slightly too wide.
Yeah, certainly rainy curve in turn 6 have been the popular mistake corners, haven't they? And shame on you, Adam. I've been stood up from the very start of this event. It's been all action from the word go, really. It's I don't want to sit down to miss any of this, as Memto has escaped unscathed from all that argy-bargy stuff there, as oh yeah, it's racing substantial right-hand damage there. Bambi with none, surprisingly. I thought he would be able to get back onto terms there with It's Racing, given such a massive amount of damage to one side. That is going to be
I think
quite
they both
tricky
have damage. I think they both have damage.
Do you think
they definitely made contact, and I do believe Bambi has damage. In fact, confirmation through my headphones, GTP Bambi indeed with damage. So there was a fender bender and then some. I believe there has been some suspension damage to both cars, and GTP Bambi does look to be ever so slightly worse off here. But Memto89, he robbed both of them and has now run off into the distance. This does look to be his race to lose, with just under 3 laps left to go.
Yes, it was a rather brutal mugging of Bambi, wasn't it, down there into turn 4, which then resulted in the contact between Bambi and It's Racing. So Memto causing all the damage there, but getting away with it himself. So it'll be interesting to see if the stewards are going to have a look at that later on, because at the end of the day, you would have to say it was a bit of a brash move. We'll have to wait and see if we can get some replays at some point. But yeah, certainly incidents like that where one driver makes a move which then causes, you know, fairly catastrophic damage to the other two. Oh no, we're being told by Core HQ it was a fairly clean move.
Look at this, killing Heidi off there at the Andretti hairpin, so outbraking himself a little bit. Indeed, we are hearing from one of the stewards that that was a clean move. However, I know there are at least 3 or 4 stewards that look back at these V8 Supercars replays, so it remains to be seen whether that is a unanimous decision, although I do agree with what I'm hearing that he was heading wide anyway. Be interesting to see whether GTP Bambi actually puts in an incident report for that one, as we see. Believe that was full gas 62 letting It's Racing through on a lap.
Yeah, say it's a case of whether Bambi felt more that Memto frightened him off the apex a little bit there, and he just caused his own problem, which I suspect is most likely how this one is going to be played out. So there's all sorts of smoke coming off It's Racing now with that right hand side damage to his car.
And Mikey I Am in the pits for 6th position, so Ben Crow capitalises there on the issues for Mikey I Am, who does seem to have come into some grief somewhere on the track all on his own. But Glenals81 has a very systematic job of driving to 4th place at this point, because he does seem to have just enough gap between himself and MTLA. However, will the stricken Camaro of GTP Bambi be going slow enough to let him through? I don't think so, because Memto89 has crossed the line, weaving and bucking to celebrate his victory, and It's Racing and Bambi come through 2nd, 3rd. Glenals81 could see them in the distance, but it wasn't enough. So Glenals81 in 4th place, missing the rostrum. MTLA in 5th. What a brilliant race that was.
I'll say that was one of the most exciting races we've seen for quite a long time, wasn't it? I mean,
Yes.
three cars fighting it for the lead over the entire race. Well, almost the entire race. Bit of bumping and barging. Yeah, unfortunate. It got curtailed a bit short there with that incident involving Bambi and its racing. I'm sure its racing will be feeling a bit sore about that one. But let's see if he can now turn the tables in the final race. As Memto now, with a second and first place, has made the most of it so far, hasn't he?
He definitely has made the most of it so far. That's 1 second position and 1 victory in his book. Will he be able to take the second win of the day? It remains to be seen in this third race, which we're about to kick off here. The Core Australian V8 Supercars Championship, showing why sprint racing can be so exciting. Endurance racing is an awesome spectacle of its own, but here in the Core Australian V8 Supercars, we're having our first real taste of core sprint racing, and we're definitely loving it. This is the third race of the day. There's Memto89 in pole. It's racing in the Mustang for the first time, splitting the two Camaros on the grid with GTP Bambi there in third as we are underway. Memto89, ooh, I think that was a good enough start.
I think that was a bit of a jump start there, wasn't it?
Better start. It's racing looking up the outside as is Glenelg's 81. And Memto89 keeps that lead position with its racing in second, Bambi in third, Glenelg's in fourth, and MTLA in fifth. So it's as you were over the first couple of bends. And I think for the first time today, we have seen all of the cars get through turns 1, 2, and 3 without trouble. However,
oh, it's racing there, getting
yes.
out of shape, and it's allowed Bambi the chance to get by. Now going to step up, looking at the outside, but it's racing has kept the inside line there, going to force him wide, and this might say, oh, he's forced him off the this time round.
Will he be able to find a position to get himself back into the track, onto the tarmac without problems? He did, but he's down to 6, he's off again, as is Mikey I Am. There's been a lot of damage, a lot of contact there. Mikey I Am slamming straight into the barriers on the inside of the Ray House straight. GTP Bambi down to 10th place. I thought he managed to slot himself back in there. However, there was a problem, and Killing Heidi's also gone off on the entrance to the corkscrew. We cannot get through a clean first lap here at Laguna Seca.
It's cold tyres, isn't it? It's causing everyone to get all out of shape, pushing each other wide, as MTLA is now looking to finally take advantage here, as he's looking to pass Glenn. Oh, it's racing, he's gone for the pit lane. Yes, it's all action so far, but it's allowed Memto to sprint away to a massive lead already. A good 5-ish seconds almost up the lead there, so he's really punished them for that one.
He definitely has, and Glenelg's 81 in second place. And who's that being fired down the order somewhat? I believe that was Ben Crow, who was losing positions left, right and centre there.
Oh, look at
Santu 99's up to 5th place already, making it round the Andretti hairpin, allowing himself to pass Mikey I Am. So Mikey I Am, hasn't gone into the pit lane, but I'm sure I saw his BMW spear straight into the tyres, so he's very lucky if he hasn't got damage from that incident.
Yeah, so it was definitely one of the BMWs, wasn't it, we saw launched out of turn 6. But Santu, we haven't talked about him all day, have we? He's been lurking towards the back of the grid.
Oh, but, there's a big moment there for him on turn 6.
Oh, someone's gone off
moment
completely.
for Mikey I Am, continuing our day of rally crossing action, losing more positions there, down to 9th place. GTP Bambi, who was ultimately down in 10th at one point, already back up to 7th. And Santu 99's had an off somewhere as well, because he's gone from 5th to 7th, down to 8th. He's had a moment at the corkscrew, down to 9th now. Ben Crow through as well, so Santu 99, we were just saying we hadn't talked about him all day, and he's made sure we're talking about him for 2 reasons. Firstly, he was in the top 5, and secondly, he went off in the corkscrew and dropped places left, right and centre as if he were a colander, and ultimately he has damage because he is in the pit lane.
Yes, I've never quite heard another racing driver being referred to as a colander there, Adam, but I suppose if it works, it works. Yeah, so unfortunately perhaps Santu getting a bit too excited by the giddy feeling of being as high as 5th place, but it's good to see the feisty little Indian doing something noteworthy there for a little while at least, and given how quickly we see people throw it off the road so far today, could be back up to 5th place before we even know it. But
he is showing potential, though. I do think that if he can sort his consistency out, he definitely has a fair bit of ability behind the wheel of that Lexus. He made a good move on Mikey I Am. So hopefully by the end of the season we can be referring to Santu as not only quick but also consistent.
Yeah, so but obviously Core is a very competitive series, regardless of what type of racing it is, whether it's the Fun Cup, the WEC, the N24. It's always full of competitive drivers, and it is difficult to get into the rhythm of it. So, given it's his first series, isn't it? Really, so yeah,
Yes.
given some time, I think he'll come good, and we'll be talking about him much more in the future. One person who we should be talking about, because he's so far in the lead, is Memso. Who?
But look at this, Ben Pro
see.
up the inside at the final corner. I thought he had a clean move there on Full Gas 62. However, there was contact. That was a very ambitious outbraking move from Ben Pro, and it hasn't stuck. He is still down in 8th place, but that was one heck of a move as Mikey I Am loses a place to GTP Bambi. I'm fairly sure that was a straightforward outbraking move into the Andretti hairpin. And one guy we haven't mentioned, Optimus Prime, is up to 4th place. I believe that's the highest we've seen him throughout his core Australian V8 Supercars campaign thus far.
Yeah, we really should stop mentioning people when they're starting to do well, because we do seem to be putting a curse on people left, right and centre at the moment. We praised Santu, and we know how that one ended, so hopefully Optimus will prove us wrong and keep that Lexus going straight and true, and he's going to have to hold off one of the fastest drivers in the form of Bambi.
As Gas 62 there on the exit of turn 6. Very easy to get a little bit sideways on the exit of that corner, and he's proving that once again. With Ben Pro and Killing Heidi very close behind him as well, I might add.
Yes, he probably is quite desperate to get away from Ben Crow, given what he just done to him
last time.
Yeah, given to him about a minute or so ago. It was good at Full Gas to see him coming though, and leave a bit of space for Ben Crow to slow it down just enough to avoid any major contact between the pair of them. As we said just not a moment ago, Bambi has got himself on the back of Optimus, so I don't think it will take too long here for the Camaro to dispense of the Lexus, but who knows, Optimus might give him a bit of a race here and prove a bit feisty as the two Americans here. Duke over 4th place.
Yes, well, Optimus Prime has been showing himself as a good driver in the midfield, and he really has a chance here to show himself towards the sharp end of the field as well. So will he be able to take this opportunity with both hands? I think he has a chance, but who was that? That was a very big spike
the overspeed
there, wasn't it? I think there might have been more butt drafting or something, because that was a massive run that GTP Bambi got there. It didn't look as if it was unassisted, and he's through into 4th.
Yes, it was quite a strange one there, the overspeed that Bambi had, but and unless Optimus decided to let his compatriot go and thought, I just want to have a clean race, I don't particularly want to get involved in any argy bars.
The 3 white cars are definitely not having a clean race, because look at this, they're right up on each other, and Full Gas 62 lost 2 places there. I think Ben Crow might have tapped him a little bit there, and we're hearing Optimus Prime missed a gear, hence he allowed GTP Bambi through. But this battle for 7th is really blossoming, and Killing Heidi is up to 7th place. Ben Crow loses his 7th position, and he now has to worry about Full Gas 62, and depending on whether there was contact or not on the approach to the corkscrew, Full Gas 62 might be on a drive for revenge.
I'm pretty certain there probably was contact between these three. Not to be negative here, but we have seen these three in the wars today, haven't we? So it wouldn't be that surprising if there was a bit of argy-bargy going on, but it's all good. They've all got through it relatively unscathed this time around, so I was wincing a bit for a few moments watching that all unfold, but we've all lived to fight another day, and I'm sure we've got 7 and a bit laps to go, haven't we? So I'm sure something else is going to happen as
both off here. Optimus Prime went off majorly, and Mikey I Am nearly followed. However, Mikey I Am kept it a little bit closer to the tarmac. He wasn't on the tarmac, but he was close enough, and thanks to not quite meeting the barriers, he has made it up to 5th position. Optimus Prime definitely went out of camera shot. He would have been very lucky to avoid the barriers on that occasion, but what he definitely has done is conceded 5th place, so Optimus Prime down to 6th. And, well, he'll be hoping, if he's getting anyone telling him about it in his earpiece, that he doesn't fall behind any further and end up in the clutches of the likes of Killing Heidi and Ben Crow, who are having a massive battle. And It's Racing is meeting that battle now. He's just gone up to 9th, so he's got the white trio of cars that have been doing such incredible battling for 7th, and he has now come across them. So will he be able to dispatch them all cleanly, or will he have further damage? As MTLA, they're getting all types of crossed up at turn 4. So with GTP Bambi very close by, despite damage, he might be able to get past the Mustang.
Yeah, it's a great driving moment from Bambi, given it is damaged and threatening us with the lead Mustang, isn't it, at the moment, with It's Racing having to fight his way through after that incident we saw on the first lap. As he's getting closer, the American, looking for another podium finish, isn't he, to at least make it 3 from 3 for today, whereas Mikey seems accustomed to sort of being in the top fringes of the top 5, doesn't he, and having a bit of a lonely race once again. As
look at this, it's Racing who's caught up to Ben Crow. I said he'd caught up with the trio of white cars, however the trio does seem to have disbanded and gone on their own little solo careers, but Ben Crow definitely has company again, because It's Racing up on the inside at the penultimate corner, not able to make that move stick. Will he be able to get a good run for the approach to the Andretti hairpin? Tries to cut in on the inside there. Full gas, having a bit of a moment on the exit of the penultimate corner, and It's Racing getting through around the outside of the final corner. I haven't seen that move yet today. He's gone down the middle, he's gone down the outside. All we need to see from him now is a move up the inside of the final corner, and then he's got the full set.
Yeah, so it was a good move from the Australian on the Australian, as we watched in the background an Australian going off. So
that is the Australian V8 Supercars Championship, and talking of Australians, It's Racing's teammate MTLA 1984, who was saying there that with quite some surprise that he was the lead Mustang, and this is his chance really to prove that he is just as good as It's Racing, and he's got GTP Bambi behind him, so I think if he's going to prove that he is an equal, this is his best chance of doing so today, to keep that Camaro at bay.
Yeah, so he's not got on too well with Laguna Seca today, has he? He's been behind It's Racing for most of the events and got involved in his fair share of scuffs, hasn't he? So he would be looking to keep a wounded Camaro behind him, but at the moment Bambi looks to be in good stead, actually. We've got a bit of a glitch with his monitor system here, which normally tells us if they've got damage. For some reason all day it's shown us Bambi doesn't have any damage, yet we're being reliably informed that he has. So lucky the boffins at Core HQ are able to monitor much more than we can and inform us of the in-depth of what's going on here. So good stuff from the guys at Core, keeping us all in tune with what's going on across everything here. As
now, I'm hearing from the pit lane, from the paddock earlier on, one of our many journalists talking to It's Racing earlier, and he's saying, you know, in my opinion, and from our testing times, MTLA is the better driver in Pride TEC. So through circumstance, he hasn't got the chance to shine yet. This is his chance to claim a rostrum, but there, just coming out of turn 6 and along the Rayhouse Straight, more off-track moments there, getting 2 wheels onto the dirt. That gave GTP Bambi a little bit of a run into the corkscrew, but it proved not to be enough. Through the rainy curve, do they both manage to keep it on the track? Yes, they do. Through the penultimate corner and into the final corner, GTP Bambi does look to be struggling with that damage that he has on the Camaro.
Well, this is what you get when you get Larry rear-wheel drive racers on an old-school narrow track with, you know, no runoffs really to speak of, or no tarmac runoffs to speak of, close proximity walls, lots of gravel everywhere, and it's certainly been catching everyone out at various points today.
And
as we see.
MTLA is being challenged by GTP Bambi once more. MTLA off there on the exit of the Andretti hairpin. 2 wheels off track once again. We've been seeing It's Racing getting crossed up there as well throughout the day, and Bambi up the inside. He's made it through, has he? Yes, he has. GTP Bambi into 3rd position for now, but will MTLA be able to capitalise on the inside line at turn 5? Not quite.
I thought in for a repeat of the incident from race 2 there for a moment, being with Bambi shoving it down the inside, but fair play, MCLA saw it coming, gave themselves enough room so that both of them could live to fight for another day on the run down to turn 5, and Bambi did take full advantage of that and up into third place.
But Bambi's gone off track a little. He hasn't gone off track, but he's gone off wide there. Sorry to cut over you there, but he's almost lost that position again, as Mikey I Am has made a mistake at the exit of turn 6, and he's allowed Optimus Prime and possibly It's Racing through. Now, will It's Racing be able to capitalise on the BMW driver's mistake? He's certainly within close proximity, but getting crossed up there on the exit of the corkscrew. So, wow, that was a big moment for Mikey I Am. Don't know if he has any damage. The car does look to be steering and driving along straight and true, so it doesn't look as though he's done himself any suspension or steering rack damage. But what he has done is he's lost a position to Optimus Prime. Now, will he be able to get through on Optimus? And will he be able to defend from It's Racing? He wants to be on the attack, but he's also got to be on the defence. And look at that, he's gone on the inside, It's Racing.
He's gone so deep,
hasn't he? He hasn't made it stick. Once again, Mikey I Am still has 6th position on the exit of the Andretti hairpin. That was a big dive.
It was quite a major league outbreaking move, wasn't it? But as we said, he ran it too deep. Let's Mikey get the undercut for the second part of the apex and get away with that one. All this is letting Optimus run away a little bit, so...
Ooh, I thought we were going to see another diving move there again. We had the same camera angle, and you had It's Racing lining up on the inside again. However, he thought better of it. Those red wheels glinting in the sunlight there, and not making the move, deciding not to scuff his lovely red wheels. Will he be able to make a move before the end of this 11th lap?
They are magnificent wheels. It's quite a short braking distance going into turn 5 there, so you've got to be pretty much alongside someone else to realistically have a chance of claiming the corner. As we saw, It's Racing was not anywhere near side by side with Mike. In fact, wasn't anywhere near the back of him. So it's all kicking off here as he's having to go into the last corner, isn't he? But no, can't quite make it. He's good on the brakes, is Mikey. He's certainly not letting It's Racing get the better of him on these few occasions. And all this is still letting Optimus Prime run away. I'm glad we get to talk about Optimus a bit, just because he has quite a cool PSN name.
Doesn't he just? I'm just getting some information from some of the core mathematicians. Provisionally, at least, with the progress It's Racing is making through the field, despite his early issues, he would put Glenn down into 2nd in the championship. Of course, this is all provisional, but at this moment in time, he has done enough to overtake Glenn in that championship battle.
Oh, as he's now seemingly got the better of Mikey, hasn't he, this time? Yep. Later on the brakes, bit close this time, nice and clean this time, it's got it done. I'm surprised, really, given the fairly mixed results It's Racing's had today, that he's going to be...
Well, actually,
I suppose Glenn's had the worst of it, hasn't he? So, I don't know what we've got going on here this time is Ben Crow and Killing Heidi. This
they've rediscovered each other, haven't they? Because they had that moment earlier and now they're back together. But it does look as though it's a relatively easy move there for Killing Heidi for 8th position. And what I was actually being told just now is it's championship implications for Glenn being in 2nd position. So what was actually being told to me there was that Glenn would be extending his championship lead with that 2nd place, and Killing Heidi off at Rainy Curve, just like we've seen so many times. Yeah, the Rainy Curve really catching people out. Ben Crow back up to 7th after briefly losing that position. But Glenal's 81 is, well, extending his championship lead with It's Racing down in 6th as it stands, and Mikey I Am has left the race. So that is why there was a brief moment of seeing a car on pause screen there. It looks as though he is done for the day. So GTP Bambi up to 3rd place, and who's that ahead of him? I believe that's just Santu929.
Yep.
But Bambi up to 3rd, will not be able to challenge Glenal's 81.
No, you wouldn't think so, with his damage, and Glenn is quite a bit up the road now. I said there was a bit of an inevitability there, wasn't there, to Ben Crow and Killing Heidi. In fact, some ways I'm amazed they got that far before one of them had a bit of an incident. But they've given us some entertainment today. At least they've made it quite fun for us, as Oximus is now coming under threat from its racing, and there might be a bit of an inevitability here as well with the Australian on the charge. Can the American hold him off?
Well, there's only a lap for him to do it, so he hasn't got too much time to keep him behind, but he's already up the inside. He's going for the full set. He has done it. He has made an inside move at the final corner. He did the middle, he did the outside, now he's done the inside. He has the full set. He also has 5th position, so he's up into the top 5, meaning that Pride TEC have both cars in the top 5. That's a good boost for the team. It also means that Glenelg's 81 isn't getting away too much in terms of the championship standings.
Yep, so nice move once again. You're right, full house now, isn't it? Middle, inside, outside, upside, downside. Just how many more weights can he do it really at the moment?
There's the leapfrog manoeuvre going over someone's roof.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see something like that from him eventually. As Memto, he must be nearing the end of the lap by now. I don't know how far he's in the lead anymore.
There's Santu 929. They're just going through the last couple of corners, and Bambi is in the background. This means that Memto 89 is bearing down the checkered flag, weaving once again. Second victory of the day. He's done a reverse Glenelg's 81 as such. Glenelg's 81 took the first 2 victories at Monza, came second in race 3. Memto 89 coming second in the first race, winning the latter 2 here at Laguna Seca. Glenn in second, Bambi in third, MTLA just crossing the line now for 4th place. Its racing should be somewhere back there. Indeed, there he is going around that final corner to take 5th position to round out an amazing day of racing here at the Core Australian V8 Supercars Championship Laguna Seca Super Sprint. You made the point of saying that the battle for 7th in that 3rd race was brilliant entertainment and that they had given us something to watch. Question is, who didn't give us something to watch there? Everyone was in a battle. Everyone was doing either brilliantly or having dramas. I think that is the best round of the Core Australian V8 Supercars thus far.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that was thoroughly entertaining, wasn't it? So, let's give it a word out. Who's your driver of the day then, Adam?
Ooh, well, driver of the day for me, I think, has to be Memto 89, who got the Driver of the Day award from my co-commentator Luke Chillingsworth last time out. But today, 2 races in a row, race 2 and race 3 for the victory there. But I was almost going to give it to It's Racing purely for that brilliant middle or splitting the Camaros move at the final corner in race 2. But Memto 89 on results alone has to get the award today.
Yep, I would agree with that one. You're right. It's Racing was a contender with his fantastic and innovative overtaking that he produced today. So, all in all, though, a good day for everyone, really. Putting on a great show for the crowd. They don't really care, do they? The electronic imagination. But for those of us watching, at least, we thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, it's sort of in line with really what we expected, wasn't it? So hopefully more is to come over the remaining races.
I definitely think the best is yet to come from this championship. Word also to GTP Bambi, who did a brilliant performance on his first appearance in the Core Australian
yes, it was, wasn't it?
Supercars Championship. Yeah, he did very well on his first appearance. And if you're curious about what happens next, the next round, which will, of course, be broadcasted on Core TV, is going to be at Brands Hatch. Slight delay on that one. It's been moved back to May the 10th due to hosting commitments, commitments for the host outside of the Core Australian V8s. In the meantime, keep in touch with us on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Core Online Race, where there will be announcements regarding any stewarding decisions. The points table will be up there once it is finalised. And do keep in touch. I've been Adam Weller alongside Tom Chorley for this broadcast of the Core Australian V8 Supercars Championship. See you in just under a month for the Core Australian V8s at Brands Hatch. But from Laguna Seca, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me as well.